Okay, second video. I just quickly want to go over Emily's. I think that Emily has done a beautiful job. I really, really like her cover. The one thing, Emily, I wanted to point out is I hope you're going to add another image here. I think it's a shame when you're paying for a book to leave this entire blank space. And some might argue, oh, it's a design choice. But, you know, it's also kind of a sad thing to just use a bunch of black ink for a black void. The other thing I wanted to point out, I really, really like your theme. And I think that the contrast and the light, for instance, in these two photos looks fantastic. In these two, I question whether or not you're going to be happy with the result. I know this company really well, and the paper that they're going to use is called Luster, and it tends to print a little dark. So if this were mine, I would lighten up her face a little bit, and I would lighten the background on this one. But otherwise, I think things look good. The only thing I would really like to see you do is add some titles or some text in the bottom to just give an explanation of, you know, the reason why you've chose these photos. But in general, things look really, really good. And again, we've got another blank spot there. Maybe this would be a good spot for a self-portrait and a short artist statement. Okay, I don't want to keep this too long, so I'm going to jump to Ryan's, and I just want to show how I did some of the things that I did when I showed you guys in the last video. So with Ryan's, this was basically my approach. So I generally made the image as large as I could. If it wasn't going to cooperate with me, I went to layouts. And I generally used something like this, and you have to drag to apply it. And then you can, you know, decide whether or not you want that. And then I think I'm going to undo that because I want to use the whole picture. But if it won't bleed to the edges, you can do something like that. Realize with this bleed, you know, things like the feet are going to get cut off. So if you don't want that, then you're going to need to bring that in. Okay. The other thing I just wanted to cover is how I did the color blocks. So I'm going to go to shapes. And I use squares and circles pretty much for all of helping him out. So the square, you just simply drag it in. And then you can go ahead and make it bigger to fill the space. And for instance, if the color fill, if you want it to be, for instance, black, or this is kind of a handy thing. This is just like an eyedropper, just like in Photoshop. So it'll find a color. So for instance, if if Ryan wanted it to be that kind of funky blue, that's kind of nice actually. I think just for his, because he's kind of got this like color block theme going on, I'm going to go ahead and add another and stretch it and make it skinnier and do a different color fill. And I think I'm going to go for some of the color in that moss, maybe that funky green. It's kind of a glitchy program. I mean, it's not Photoshop in, you know, I realize that, but you know, maybe something like that. Okay, so this just in keeping with his theme, I thought this might be a good solution for him. Okay, so I just wanted to show you that. The other thing I wanted to show you is that I am going to go back to this page, this one. So how I did this one is I went to frames and I picked one of these. So there's actually a lot in here, and I picked the circle, you know, so, but, you know, just for the sake of explanation, you know, you can go ahead and drag it onto your piece and it'll frame your piece. And then I put color blocks behind it. I also had to play with the position. So, you know, for instance, you know, making this at the front, and then you can also play around with the transparency of these color blocks. So I'm going to undo that because I don't think Ryan really wants that. But just again, to show you how I dealt with this to make it transparent.